Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court with Krissy. Are you guilty of a crime but you don't want to do any time? Get a lawyer. It worked for this defendant. Maybe it can work for you too. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Last week, we are objecting to the 911 call, as well as the body cam video, both under hearsay as well as confrontation clause. Those arguments were made last Tuesday.
Thank you.
We still stand and agree with the court's findings in that matter, that the 911 is non-testimonial and comes under present sense impression and excited utterance, and that the body cam footage for at least, I don't know, the first, I'm going to say 30 seconds maybe, where Officer Litzinger approaches the victim. She's speaking to an individual in a vehicle and not the officer, and is still under the stress of the event, and we believe is also excited utterance and non-testimonial.
Mr. Dye, you didn't believe that was testimonial, or do you believe that's testimonial?
Yes, Your Honor, and also as far as that goes, the body cam when Officer Litzinger first rolls up under Ohio's wiretap law, one person privy to the conversation has to know it's being recorded to be introduced at trial or at any hearing. Ms. Litzinger, or Officer Litzinger, I apologize, had not entered the conversation as of yet. This was a conversation that was between the alleged victim and her mother. Officer Litzinger hadn't spoken a word, I believe, up to the point where the court is considering allowing this to be played.
Ms. Moore?
We believe that this does fall under the court's, or the rules of evidence, anticipation of an excited utterance, where she is a personal witness to a traumatic event. She was still under the excitement of the event when it occurred, and Officer Litzinger was walking up to the scene after the victim had called the police, so she knew the police were on the way. She knew Officer Litzinger was approaching as she was making the statements. We believe that therefore accepts it from the rules of evidence, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything besides the motion to eliminate?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
Okay. Ms. Moore?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. As just for the record, because I haven't ruled on the record as to these matters, in the motion to eliminate, we had a hearing last week. On that, the court reviewed the 911 call and the body camera. The court ruled that the 911 call is admissible as it was partially a present sense impression and also excited utterance. There were the discussion on the 911 call is not testimonial for Crawford purposes, as there was an ongoing emergency of sorts, and they were trying to track down the defendant. The body camera was also probably a excited utterance. However, it was almost wholly testimonial, as there was discussion with the officer and the victim about pressing charges and questioning as to gathering evidence. So I believe that was almost all testimonial for Crawford purposes. I'll admit the very interaction that was caught between the victim and another person on the scene there, that was not testimonial. I do believe it was excited utterance as well. So I'll allow that to be introduced if the prosecution wants to introduce that. A few seconds of the interaction. Anything else that you put on the record as to those, Mr. Dye?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. And ready for opening?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Please bring the jury back. All rise, please.
All rise, please.
You may be seated. Mrs. Moore.
Thank you. Good morning. Again, as Mr. Dye said in his voir dire, we're going to be thanking you a lot today, but we do really mean it. Appreciate your service today. I believe we have one of the fairest and best legal structures here in the United States, and it's very important in order to have this kind of legal system that each and every one of you take some time out of your day to come in here, take some time away from your family, your jobs, and I know that can be stressful to come and sit here on this jury today. So we truly do thank you for your service here today. Now, through voir dire, you've learned a little bit about this case already. Now to get to the facts that you're going to hear today. You're going to hear that the defendant, Mr. Taylor, is charged with 2 counts. That on March 3rd, 2024, in the city of Newark, Ohio, Licking County, that the defendant did knowingly cause or attempt to cause physical harm to a family or household member, namely Ariel Knott. He is also charged with aggravated menacing, that he did knowingly cause another to believe that the offender would cause serious physical harm to such other or such other's immediate family. Now, as I spoke a little bit about in voir dire today, you're not going to hear from Ms. Knott today. And I know we spoke about the importance of accountability in these type of situations for a community and not just in the home. But both are important. And there could be 1,000 reasons why a victim of domestic violence chooses not to cooperate. You know, this is a personal relationship between 2 individuals, share a home, share children. And that can be difficult to bring someone, to get your loved one in trouble. But it doesn't make what happened okay, and it doesn't make it less important to our community to hold people who commit such crimes, who are found guilty to committing such crimes, accountable for their actions. So the facts of this case, the evidence that you're going to have in front of you, you're going to hear a 911 call from Ms. Knott. So it's not like you're not going to hear from her today. You're going to hear from her on the day in question. And in fact, in the beginning, you're going to hear from her in the middle of what was occurring. You're going to hear her call 911. You're going to hear her be hysterical on the line. You're going to hear her say that her boyfriend, who she will later identify on that 911 call as Sean Taylor, is trying to stab her with a knife, and you'll hear her yell, "No!" You'll hear then during that call her continue to cry, her continue to be upset. She says multiple times that he attempted to stab her with a knife, and that he also pushed her face, pushed her head down during the altercation. You're also going to hear from Officer Litzinger, who's going to tell you that when she rolled up to the scene, you will see a small portion of her body camera. And what I want you to understand is that the rules of evidence require certain elements to be met to produce testimony, especially when that person is not here. So you're only going to be able to see parts of the video. You're only going to be able to hear parts of the 911 call. Both will be edited according to the rulings by the court. Okay, so please don't try to speculate about what else was on that call. Please don't try to speculate what else was on that video. The parts that you are to consider will be the parts you hear in court and that you see. You're going to see Officer Litzinger roll up on the scene. She's approaching the victim, Ms. Knott, in this case, and you will hear her telling another individual that he held a knife to her and her son stepped in to stop him from doing anything. Now, I realize this is not your typical domestic violence case. I realize that hearing from the victim, having her testify today, would be important. However, It doesn't mean that the evidence produced by the state does not meet that burden of proof. And what you're going to hear on the phone is an individual who is in the middle of the confrontation, who is experiencing all the emotions of what happened to her in that phone call. You're going to hear it. That she didn't have time to sit there and think about what she was going to say on that phone. She was reacting to what had just happened to her. And you're going to hear that. Now, the victim on the phone call will say that she was not injured. And for a case of domestic violence, just like assault, we don't have to prove that there was injury. We just have to prove that he knowingly attempted or caused. So an attempt to cause physical harm is the same as causing physical harm when it comes to the charge. You can consider these charges separately. The second charge is aggravated menacing. That Mr. Taylor did make another individual believe that he was going to cause her serious physical harm. You will hear her state 3 times on the phone call, at least 3 times, that he tried to stab her with a knife, and you will hear her reaction that clearly she was scared. She was upset. You will hear her say that her son stopped him from stabbing her with a knife. That her son is 15 or 16. That's what we're going to present to you. You know, some cases you will have a victim, you will have all these photographs and injuries, and it will fit the stereotypical domestic violence case. But it doesn't mean that this case doesn't meet that burden. If you listen to Miss Knott, and you believe what she was saying, and you believe that she was frightened, that can be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not necessarily quantity or the amount of exhibits that the state presents, it's the quality. A 911 call, as well as you'll see her at the scene describing what happened, can be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And I would ask that you find it to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt and enter a guilty finding on both charges. Thank you.
Mr. Dye.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. As you'll find out, I'm very brief with just about everything. So I think this is going to be a very quick trial, one way or the other. Already the state is trying to get you to forget that oath, to hold them to that high burden of proof. They're already admitting they don't have any real evidence. I want you to listen to what they do have. But more importantly, I want you to question what they have. I want you to listen to what they don't have. I want you to listen to what doesn't get presented to you and question that. Because if you do that, and if you hold them to that high standard of proof and make them change your firmly held belief in Sean's innocence, there is no way you'll be able to return a guilty verdict. Thank you.
I have an objection. May we approach?
Please.
Thank you. I understand.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, no.
The close. Okay.
Mrs. Moore, you may call your first witness.
Thank you. I'd call Dispatcher Green to the stand.
Your Honor, while she's coming in, and for the record, I'd object to this witness as not being disclosed prior to the hearing today.
Okay.
Are we doing this outside the jury?
I don't think we really need to.
Yes.
Follow me in here, please. Well, there's steps in house. Just have a seat, okay?
Can you ask the jury to disregard the statements?
What'd you say?
His statements about this, it should have been done outside the hearing of the jury.
No. Okay, I'll overrule your objection.
Go ahead, swear in.
Yep, please.
Stand up, please. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case now being here to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, or under penalty of perjury. Have a seat. Keep your voice up for me.
Okay.
We're recording this, okay? State your full name, spell your last name,
Amanda Green, Green,
and state your business address.
783 Irvingwood Drive, West.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, you may proceed.
Thank you. Dispatcher Green, what do you do for a living?
I'm a 911 dispatcher for Licking County. Answer all 911 calls coming in, and then send it either to police or we dispatch fire and EMS.
Okay, so you most of the time receive the initial call.
Yes.
Okay. And were you on duty on March 3rd, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And same duties that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review a phone call from a Miss Ariel Knott prior to testifying here today?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to play that 911 call.
Okay.
It's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 2. Is it on?
Should be.
It's playing, but no, there's no sound.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Drive.
Turkey,
He's trying to, my boyfriend's trying to grab a knife. No!
Did he get out of the house?
He has a gun.
He has a gun?
He has a gun.
Okay. All right. Are you able to
And
get
he's
someone's name?
leaving. And I needed the license plate number is JBL.
JBL 4?
You'll go to jail. Whatever.
Okay. All right, stay on the line. I'm going to get a dispatcher on here. What is your name?
Ariel Knott.
Okay, I'm going to get a police dispatcher on here with us, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Dispatcher Green, do you recall that phone call?
Yes.
Okay. And I know we had talked about there have been portions of 911 edited based on a court ruling, correct? But that portion, is that an exact depiction of the parts played, or is that a fair and accurate depiction of how that phone call occurred?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Dye.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you may step down.
Thank you.
You may call your next witness.
I'd call Dispatcher Anders.
May we approach?
Please.
steps up to your left, go up those steps, remain standing and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case now being here to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Have a seat. State your full name, spell your last name,
Darren Anders, Anders,
and state your business address.
I don't know the address over there.
That's okay.
You may
It's on the backside of Boeing. I don't know it's just that one little building.
And what are your job duties, Dispatcher Anders?
I'm a dispatcher. We take in the phone calls. We decide what officers to dispatch the calls. We handle 14 different agencies in Licking County.
Okay. And you work for the Licking County 911 Center?
I do,
All right. And were you on duty for them on March 3rd, 2024?
yes.
Okay. And on that date, were you transferred a call from the 911 operator from an aerial knot?
I was,
Okay. Did you have a chance to review this phone call prior to coming in here today?
yes.
And minus the edits that were made in this, is it a fair and accurate copy of that phone call between you and Ms. Knott?
Yes.
Okay.
Licking County Sheriff's Office.
Hi, I'm already on the line for 50 Drive.
Ma'am. Has he been physical with you, ma'am?
Yes, he just threw me on the floor and punched me in my face, like mushed me in my face. And then he tried to stab me with the knife.
Where's he at, ma'am?
He just peeled out, and I don't remember the license plate number. I just gave it to that woman, and now I don't remember it.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the house with you, ma'am?
my son and his friends.
How old are they, ma'am?
Like 15 and 16.
Did he make threats with a gun, ma'am?
He said he's about to kill me.
Did he threaten you with a weapon, ma'am?
Yes, he told me he was going to put me 6 feet under.
Okay, and how long ago did he leave, ma'am?
He just left.
Do you know which way he went?
No, he just pulled out of here and he probably went down Price Road or something, or he probably headed to Columbus. Who knows?
Okay, and where are your children at, ma'am?
My son is here. And he just tried to stop him from doing it. Like, he just tried to stop him from from stabbing me with a knife.
And where's the knife at, ma'am?
It's up in the kitchen.
Okay, is your child with you, ma'am? Or is he in a
Yes,
different room?
he's down here. He's literally here.
What kind of vehicle is he in, ma'am? What's it look
And
like?
he's in a Ford Explorer.
What
Like in the
color?
cop cars. It's black.
Okay, and you're not injured at all, ma'am?
No, I'm not. Because he pulled a knife on me and he was like not even 5 feet from me with it.
Okay, does he live there, ma'am?
Yes, we all live here.
Okay, and what's his name?
His name's Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, and how old is he, ma'am?
He's 34.
Okay, we have two headed that way, ma'am.
Okay.
If he comes back, then we can change it. Bye.
Is that the conversation you had with Ms. Knott on March 3rd, 2024?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Dunn,
No questions, Your Honor.
you may step down.
I'd call Officer Litzinger to the stand. Video, yeah.
Raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case now being heard to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, or under penalty of perjury. Thank you. Have a seat. State your full name. Spell your last name. Your business address, please.
39 South 4th Street, Newark, Ohio.
Thank you.
Hey, Officer Litzinger, where are you employed?
Newark Police Department.
How long have you been with the Newark Police Department?
Going on 13 years.
All right. And were you on duty for them on March 3rd, 2000? You're wearing today?
I was.
Were you operating a cruiser?
Yes.
And was that equipped with a body worn camera device?
Yes.
Okay. And actually, you were wearing it, but it does record, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, did you work with Ms. Knott prior to this date?
Yes, at the Phoenix school.
Okay. Have you heard her voice before?
Yes.
Was that her voice on
Yes.
the 911 call? Okay. Have you met Sean Taylor before?
I have.
Okay. And do you see him in the courtroom here today?
I do.
Can you tell me where he is seated, what he is wearing?
Directly in front of me with a white shirt and a tie.
Okay. Thank you. Let the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant.
Michelle.
Okay. Now, on March 3rd, 2024, were you called out to drive?
Yes.
Okay, and that's located in the city of Newark, Licking County, state of Ohio?
Yes.
All right. And when you arrived at the scene, who did you observe?
Miss Knott standing on the front porch.
Okay. And what was her demeanor during your contact with her?
Almost to like hysterical.
Okay.
Very upset.
Was she crying?
Yes.
Okay. And when you drove up to the scene, there's a portion of your body camera that captures her speaking to someone else. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to play that portion. Before we get there, Officer Litzinger, do you recognize this video?
Yes.
How do you know it's yours?
By the watch.
Okay.
And that's what my cruiser looks like.
All right. And it says on it, Officer Krissy Litzinger. That's you?
Yes.
Okay. And the date is March 3rd, 2024?
Correct.
As you're walking up, who is that in the video?
The female and the male.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the female. That's Miss Knott.
Okay.
I don't know what he's going to do. Because he literally had the knife like this far from me and Peyton stopped him. Okay.
Okay. And what did she say when you were coming up? Just to recap what was played on the video.
Just now?
Yes.
I did not catch it.
Okay.
I don't know what he's going to do. Because he literally had the knife like this far from me and Peyton stopped him. Okay.
That he had pulled a knife on her
Okay.
and was threatening her with it.
And who's Peyton?
Pardon me?
Who's Peyton?
I believe that's her son.
Okay. How long do you believe you were there?
I would say after we went in the house and we were in the kitchen and she showed me the
No.
knife and...
Okay.
Okay,
without-
I'm sorry.
How long were you there?
I would say at least 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. And during that time, what was her emotional state?
Hysterical, like just in the video, and then she would calm for a moment, and then she got hysterical again, and calm for a moment, and then back to hysterical.
Okay. Okay. And where this occurred, that's in the city of Newark, Licking County, state of Ohio, correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Dye?
Thank you. Officer Litzinger, you stated you were on the force now for 13 years?
Almost, yes.
And was this your first law enforcement job, or did you work somewhere else before that?
I was right out of the academy. I was briefly at Shawnee Hills for about a year, a little over.
So you mentioned the academy. What academy is that?
The Central Ohio Technical College Police Academy.
Okay, and how long of a course of training is that?
The academy itself is 6 months to just a little over 6 months, but I did the associate's degree for 2 years total.
What in that did they teach you? What do they teach you at that?
A lot of things, you know, how to conduct yourself, the law, how to deal with victims, how to deal with suspects.
And then when you got on the job, was there on-the-job training when you first started?
Absolutely, every day.
Okay. I mean, I know very little about that side of the job. One of my favorite shows is The Rookie. So, you know, do you have a training officer that you ride with for a while when you first start?
Yes, there are different phases. I believe it was a total of 4 to almost 5 months.
Okay. And what did that training concentrate on? Anything in particular?
It's different phases. So the first phase, you're just, say, riding with the training officer. He's showing you the streets, get you acclimated to the city. And then, you know, then you go to a different phase where you're driving, but the phase training officer is still in charge, but let you get your feet wet. And the training phases after that let you get your feet a little bit more wet. And then like the last, I say, 2 weeks, you're in the car by yourself. He's in a cruiser following you around. Make sure you know, don't mess up royally. So, and then you're on your own.
In both the academy and your on-the-job training, were you taught about writing reports and the importance of that?
Yes.
And why is writing reports such an important part, if it is, in law enforcement?
So you can recall what happened. Now we have body cams so that you can listen to a body cam versus reading, but sometimes cases are continued again and again and again. It could be up to a year before you get to that case, so you can recall.
Okay, and you did write a report on this date, on the March 3rd date.
Yes.
And in that report, did you mention any visible injuries that you observed?
I did not.
And did you mention any visible signs of struggles or fights inside the residence that you observed?
No, I did not.
And in your training, did you ever hear the phrase or term that if it's not documented, it didn't happen?
Yes, this was documented on body cam.
Okay, but not in your report where you're taught to do it?
That's correct.
Okay. And when you first walk up, this video that was just played, this lady in, I believe that's blue?
The one from me?
Pink? Colorblind.
Oh, so she has a pink sweatshirt.
Okay. She never says that this person threatened her. She says he had a knife this close and Peyton stopped him. Is that it's almost exact words she said?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you arrived there was Mr. Taylor was not there, was he?
Correct.
As a matter of fact, you didn't see Mr. Taylor at all that day.
That's correct.
No further questions?
Mrs. Moore?
No questions, thank you.
You may step down. Make our next witness.
I have no further witnesses at this time, Your Honor. I would move for admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, which is the portion of the body cam, and Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 is the body cam, 1 is 911 call.
So we incorrectly identified the
You had
911
it
call the first time.
reversed.
What did I have as Plaintiff's Exhibit
You,
1?
you announced the 911 call as Exhibit 2 the first time.
Okay.
So to get it clear, I mean, I don't
Sorry,
care
yes,
which, I don't
Plaintiff's
care which
Exhibit
is
2,
which.
911 call,
2 is
Plaintiff's
911
Exhibit 1,
okay.
Cam.
Okay. Mr.
Same objections we've made
Okay.
previously.
Okay. I'll admit the portions that were played of those 2 exhibits. Anything else? Okay. Mr. Dye.
At this point, probably going to make a Rule 29 motion, so.
All right, take a recess. All right. Okay. Okay. Do not. At this time, we're going to take a recess. Do not discuss the case among yourselves. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form or express an opinion on the case until it is finally submitted to you. The jury would retire to the jury room, please.
All rise, please. Head to the jury room, please. Go ahead and shut the door, please. Thank you.
Okay. You may be seated. Mr. Dye.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we have moved for acquittal based on Criminal Rule 29. Your Honor, there's nothing that identifies my client in any of this. There's a name, Sean Taylor, but nobody is saying that this is the Sean Taylor that's mentioned in the audio. There's nothing that puts my client at the scene. There's no evidence in the record that he actually is the person who lives there. Officer Litzinger testified that she knows Sean Taylor, but not how she knows Sean Taylor. Not that he is the Sean Taylor that is mentioned here. Further, there is an admission on that 911 that she wasn't injured, that there was no physical contact. He tried to stab me, but know who the he is. Also, there's no evidence whatsoever in the record that this incident actually occurred at the residence. That question was never asked, just that he did it, not where. Well, the question was asked where she lives and does he live there as well, but not where did the violence or alleged violence occur. Based on that, Your Honor, we would ask for ruling of acquittal.
Mrs. Moore.
Thank you. I believe the officer did identify the person as Sean Taylor. The victim identified the person who committed this crime as Sean Taylor. She also stated that they lived at that address. And also in the beginning of the 911 call, if you listen, she's saying that my boyfriend is trying to stab me, who she later identifies as Mr. Taylor, and then she yelled no. And then she states he is leaving, he just left, and she gives a license plate number. So I do believe there's evidence that it happened at that address. And she does give the 911 dispatcher the address where she is at on the 911 call. I believe that the state has met all of the elements. Number one, she states they lived together. She identified the person as Sean Taylor. He was identified by the officer as indeed Sean Taylor. The elements of domestic violence, that they cause or attempt to cause physical harm. In the 911 call, she states that he threw her down, held her face, smashed her face, and then he grabbed a knife and attempted to stab her with it, with her son getting in the way during that incident. This all, reasonable minds could differ as to whether or not the state has met its burden, but however, we believe that all the elements were made and that it should get to the jury.
Mr. Dye.
The main one, Your Honor, is that even despite all that, assuming everything that the state has just presented is true, there is no evidence that this Sean Taylor is the same Sean Taylor that's being mentioned on the audio.
Nothing was brought in other than the audio that says that this Sean Taylor is her boyfriend. There are a lot more Sean Taylors out there. There's no evidence of his address saying that he's the Sean Taylor that lives there. There's no pictures, there's no anything that identifies as him as the person that is being discussed in this video.
Mrs. Moore.
Your Honor, if he is saying that it is not him, I mean, he's welcome to testify. But she identifies her boyfriend as Sean Taylor. She knows Errol not from working at Eagle Wings Academy. She identified this person as Sean Taylor. How they came into contact, we can't really put on the record, but it involved the same person. But I think there is enough to identify Sean Taylor. If he's going to get up there and say that wasn't me, then so be it.
So what is the ID?
What is the ID?
Yes, how is he
She stated his name on the
to
911 call.
this incident? Okay.
There's more than one Sean Taylor, and Officer Litzinger did not testify that, yes, I know him as her boyfriend, as Sean Taylor, as the Sean Taylor that lives there. Just, I know him as Sean Taylor. Nothing ties him to that residence and that event.
Is there evidence that he's a family or household member?
She stated they all live together.
Sean Taylor does, not this man.
That her boyfriend, Sean Taylor,
Living as a spouse, boyfriend, saying boyfriend
calls
is
boyfriend.
sufficient for that?
calls a boyfriend, also says that they all live at
Yeah,
the same
she said
address.
they all live there. Okay. So how is Mr. Taylor tied to this date and incident? I'm leaning towards agreeing with Mr. Dye here.
I understand.
That there's nothing tying him to here other than
Other
his,
than the
other
same
than
name.
his other than his
They
name.
have the same name.
Yeah. And for that reason, I'll grant the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
No.
All right.
It's over. They gotta bring the jury back in. Well, actually, they don't.
No.
No.